Welcome to a brand new season of TVGP's Critical Misses. I'm your host, Boston, and joining me as always is Moonpair.
Howdy.
This is a celebration season, but sort
Uh-huh.
of for an unfortunate reason. So, recently we learned about the unfortunate passing of our friend Harlow, who if it was our friend and friend of the show, so you probably heard him on the Bamfcast. Over at
Uh-huh.
bmfcast.com. It's 600 episodes over there. It's an incredible show. If you haven't ever listened to it, it's so good. If you like the sort of thing that we do here, you're probably going to love Bamcast, although they skew more purposefully towards bad movies. Or, sorry,
Yes.
quote-unquote bad movies. Then we sort of trip ourselves into romantic comedy seasons full of bad movies.
Or
So
best of the worst with Morbius.
that's right. Yeah, we're our famous/infamous seasons. Excuse me. So we did learn about his unfortunate passing and thought Moon had a great idea of why don't we have a season of some of his favorites, some that sticking with the theme of the show that one or both of us haven't seen. Big thank you to Mackie, who was also on the Bamfcast, who suggested 3 films to us, and we're going to watch those as sort of favorites of Harlow here, and movies that, for the first 2 of them, we were sort of having, sort of serendipitously, we were having trouble fitting them into seasons. So it was sort
Yep.
of like, oh, those 2 are kind of perfect, not only as things that he loved, but also as films that were looking for a season.
Correct. And like if you're not a patron,
Mm-hmm.
you should go become a patron because number one, you get access to this earlier, but also
That's right.
you get access to the production meeting where we go over the films, the discussions, because a bunch more films came up, but it's like, okay, but we need to these are the ones that kind of match our rules, but also match the rules of this season, essentially.
Right. I also do want to mention here at the beginning, though, that it can be hard to hear, and it can be hard to sort of deal with the loss of a loved one or a friend or someone that you listened to hundreds of episodes on a podcast for. So if you do need help, I don't care what anybody else in your life or the internet says, that mental health is important, and it is important to
And it's real.
Yeah, and it's real, and it's important for you to get whatever help you need. It does not make you less of a person or weak or anything. All of that stuff is BS. Like, it is important that if you need some help, you need some assistance, please go speak to somebody that can give you that assistance. That is important to do for everybody, no matter who you are. So if you're struggling with this or you're struggling with whatever, please go speak to somebody that can help you. That is very important, and that's something that we are big proponents of here on all of these shows, and we don't talk about it too much, but that is very important. So please go speak to somebody.
Yeah, and also to co-opt the rest of the Mouthcast crew's phrasing here. Go tell the people that you love them.
Yeah, there's never a bad time to be like, hey man, you're great. So yeah. So we're gonna do our first movie here, which is going to be 2022's The Batman, which is still a really great title of just like what your mom was calling the Genesis in the 90s, of like, you just playing that Nintendo? Just like, you watching the Batman? I have been, we talked about it, and like Moon said, go listen to the production meeting if you're a patron, patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
I've wanted to watch this for a while, and I think we've been saving it for the show. We kind of came up with a fun twofer of this movie and another one that we kind of stumbled upon as we do in the production meeting.
Yep.
And sort of moving it here into the season. But this movie looks super cool, and a lot of people really loved it. And I really like Robert Pattinson. It's got everything.
And we should also say that, like, you haven't seen this movie.
I have. Oh, okay.
I actually saw this movie in the theaters.
Okay.
Which was, at the time it came out, semi-risky, but luckily I can, you can go and see something at a matinee time, and most people aren't there.
Right.
It's interesting. What do you know about this movie, Boston?
So, I know it's got
Bats.
Yeah, it's got Bat Pats in it. I know it has Paul Dano in it because I'm a big fan of his, and I feel like we've seen him in a couple of movies across Critical Misses, and every time we see him, we're like, man, that Paul Dano. Dang, he's good. Man, I want to see more stuff with him in it.
That is probably correct, yes.
I'm like 90% sure what character he is, but I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, okay. If you're 90% sure, you need to take the guess. You need to put it on record.
That's true.
Before you see the movie.
I think he's the Riddler.
Okay.
Okay. I know it has Colin Farrell with a considerable amount of prosthetics, to the point where most people didn't know it was Colin Farrell.
I didn't know it was Colin Farrell when I watched this movie. That is correct.
I'm 99% sure he's the Penguin.
Okay.
So a little bit more confident on that one. I know it's... I had to look the director up on this because I knew he sounded familiar. It's Matt Reeves, who directed Cloverfield, which I feel like I'm one of the few people that genuinely and unironically like that movie.
It's a great movie. People who give that movie crap are just...
I saw it in the theaters, and I was just like, this movie's incredible.
I saw it in the theaters too.
The cameraman's name is Hud. It's so good. It's great. Other than that, I feel like I have absorbed maybe one or two of the outstanding... I was going to call them jokes, but I don't think that's the right term. Maybe lighter comedic moments.
Hold on a second. Like, let's talk about what else this guy's directed. It's an entire Critical Misses season by itself.
Okay.
2 of the recent Planet of the Apes movies.
Oh, okay. All right. People seem to really like those in a way that I'm pleasantly surprised by.
Me too. I have only seen the first one of those.
Man, I don't know if I've seen that one.
Probably not considering who's in it, but yes.
Wait, who's in it? Is it a wrong?
No, it's the dude who's famous for getting high all the time, who I can't remember the name of.
Seth Rogen?
That crowd.
Oh,
it's not Seth Rogen, but it's that crowd. It's the skinny one who was in Spider-Man. He was the original Spider-Man. He was he was
Christopher Reeves.
Defoe's kid.
Oh, yeah, the other one from
James Franco. There you go.
Franco, thank you. I apologize to anyone listening. I'm sick today.
I am tired.
So, and I'm tired. So like my movie trivia brain is even worse than usual. Okay, James Franco. Yes,
the skinny high one, James Franco. Everyone knows who I'm talking about now.
Yeah, the same but different. James Franco.
Yes.
I've
seen the one with him in, but that's all I've seen.
Okay, wild. I didn't even know he was in one of those. Okay, interesting.
Anyway, the jokes. You said some of the lighthearted moments.
Yeah, I think the biggest one is the thumb drive, which everyone was like, "Oh, it's so funny. Don't tell him what it is." And it's like, okay.
So do you know about that?
No, everybody's like, it's always those internet things of like, somebody says one of the jokes and everyone's like, you know, like don't mention it.
Yes. So I'm very curious because if you're looking at this movie from a high level film critic perspective, you might have issues with the movie, and that's absolutely fine. I can understand where you're coming from.
Sure.
I'm looking at this as just a moviegoer, and I liked this movie when I saw it originally.
I'm here to have fun watching a movie.
Yeah, and I did see somebody describe it as unintentionally camp gothic.
Ooh, okay.
Which I might have to lean into a little bit, because it's like there's some moments in this which is just totally, that's super campy, but also super gothic. So yeah.
I mean, we did love that one super campy gothic. Was it the Repo the Genetic Opera?
Repo the Genetic Opera. That's it.
I mean,
fantastic musical.
Surgery.
Don't, because now that's gonna be in my head.
So like, if there's any audience that would love a kind of gothic camp movie, that'd be us.
It's whether the camp is intentional becomes the question, I think, or whether it's just a byproduct.
Yeah, is the camp better when it's accidental and they're just having fun, or is it purposeful and they're leaning into it? I don't know. Interesting.
So some random things about this movie that you should probably know going into it.
Okay.
This was filmed during peak COVID times.
Interesting. Okay.
This was one of those movies. It had one of the most stringent COVID recording rules out there. Like this and like Mission Impossible 7, I think, were widely regarded as, hey, we are being super strict on COVID in this front, because we kind of should be. So much so, like, traditionally on a film, the director and if the director wants another take, he'll walk to the actor, have a conversation with the actor, then walk back to the cameras, like to the behind the cameras, and they'll do the shot. They didn't even do that. They gave Robert Pattinson an earpiece, so he could literally tell him what he wanted from the next take without having to go over to him and view it that way. So that's how strict they were, and potentially unfairly maligned for having strict COVID recordings. Because that story gets out, and then all of a sudden all of the idiots are like, well,
where was that ire with Les Mis?
Anyway,
it's so good.
Yeah. You have to kind of keep that in mind, I think, when you're watching this movie, because this is a big budget movie that was filmed in a rough time.
Yeah, so there's going to be a little bit of... It's all going to be a little bit odd.
Yes.
Yeah, that's understandable. I am excited to see this movie as kind of a different take on Batman, and I think one of the big reasons for me is seeing Robert Pattinson in this role. I like him.
I have not seen enough of his work. Like, that is my big thing I've realized at this time is, after watching this movie, I was like, okay, so I've seen this, I've seen Tenet, I've seen some of the Twilight movies, but I haven't seen the full run of his oeuvre.
Sure. And he wasn't before this, one of his more famous roles was in the Wizarding movies, but he was in it for such a small amount of time across, was it 8 movies that he... Yeah,
he's in like one movie for like 20 minutes total screen time.
Yeah, so I feel like...
But that was his breakout role. That was what got him the job, arguably, to be Edward Cullen in Twilight.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else looking here. I haven't seen The Lighthouse as much as I really want to.
Same.
I haven't seen any of the Twilight movies. Check a future season of this show, undoubtedly. I don't know what else. I haven't seen Tenet yet, because that's probably going to be on the show at some point.
The auteur seasons has a Nolan
Yes.
season just waiting to be done.
That's right. So yeah,
But
I feel like he hasn't.
He seems like he's one of those actors who he reminds me of Adam Driver, of Tom Hardy, where they're like, yeah, I'll do a huge giant budget movie, get that big fat paycheck, and then I'm just gonna do a bunch of indie movies,
Right?
because like that's where I get to like really show my flair, kind of thing.
He's gonna go do The Lighthouse with
William Dafoe.
yeah, with Willem Dafoe, and just be like, hey, it's a real weird black and white kind of existential horror movie. It's like, yeah, all right, yeah, you do you, man.
Why not? He got a big fat paycheck. He did a bunch of little indie movies, like exactly like Tom Hardy, like Edward Norton, like Adam Driver. Like they all seem to do the big paycheck movie, and then you look at their IMDb, and it's like 9 indie movies squished between 2 like big blockbusters.
I think it was the oh god, Ben Affleck. I heard it from first. The one for them, one for me thing, where it's like, I'm gonna do one for them, one for the studio. I'm gonna do one for me, and you kind of flip flop between those.
Okay, that makes sense from the Ben Affleck Matt Damon team up of
exactly. I'm gonna make a bajillion dollars talking about apples. I'm gonna go do Dogma. It's like, yeah, sure, all right,
yeah,
why not?
Yeah, that's a very good, it's a very good approach. Credit to Ben Affleck. He potentially not a nice person, but credit to him for also ironically being the Batman. Also,
credit to Ben Affleck for just not giving a poop on literally any DVD commentary he was ever on. So good.
He feels like he doesn't give a poop about anything.
That's true.
Anything.
Too cool for school, man. Yeah. I don't know what else though on this movie, because I feel like the reception to it when it came out was sort of what I expected, which is it's a quote-unquote comic book movie that wasn't really an X-Men movie or MCU or DCEU movie. Like, it didn't fit that kind of mold, so I feel like either people watched it and hated it because it wasn't like all the other ones, or they watched it and they were like, it's okay. That's fine. So, like,
it wasn't exactly necessary, you might say.
Sure, but I think what I'm excited about is, how do you take from my understanding, it's a younger Bruce Wayne. Not an origin story, not I'm a superhero story, that kind of middle period of like, I'm learning how to do it. Like, I'm getting my bat feet under me, as opposed to kind of one of those other ends of the spectrum. And that's something that I think on paper sounds really interesting, of, how does Bruce Wayne get into becoming who Batman eventually is. I think that sounds appealing, as like, it's not an origin story like, oh, Thomas and Martha get shot in the alleyway, pew pew pew.
Do you think we see it?
Oh yeah, that's the big question we got to ask every time.
Do we do a Justice League and we see it again?
Man, I hope we don't. I hope it doesn't open the movie, because I feel like that's when you typically do it. I'm more okay with a Batman movie, him having a nightmare and like waking up and be like, oh yeah, my parents died. Or like you're doing it in the background over the credits. I'm okay with that, where it's like the newspaper flipping of like, Thomas and Martha Wayne shot by thugs.
Yeah, like, okay, so like a newspaper montage intro.
Exactly. But I don't want to see somebody here, the two of them walking out of the theater again with young Bruce Wayne. Like, I will.
Did they get the guy who played the blue guy from Watchmen again to play his dad?
That's right. Hey man, we got a day-long shoot for you. Guess who you're gonna play again?
Awful.
Yeah, I really hope they don't, because like,
It'd be even better if they got Batfleck to be his dad. That would be
That
great.
would be really good. But like even the most capitalism brained movie execs have to know that people are so tired of seeing that scene again and again for like 30 years. So
I mean, did they learn from Spider-Man and not like show it in the slightest?
right.
Because like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of Spider-Man, you never get that story.
No, it's just like, hey man, I'm Spider-Man. You know who I am. It's like, yeah. My kid knows who Spider-Man is and like how Spider-Man got his start. Like it's just it's cultural osmosis at this point. Like you don't need to worry about spending a bunch of time on that. So yeah, I hope they don't. I'm glad you remembered, because I feel like we sort of have to ask that question. But I don't know. I'm excited.
Do you know anybody else who's in this?
Nope, no idea. I figure there has to be. It's a Batman movie that doesn't seem to feature the Joker, so I'm assuming that there has to be at least one reference, even if it's throwaway, to like, yeah, this guy with the face paint run around town, laughing a lot.
Oh, okay.
Laughing gas. It's wild.
To be honest, the funny thing is, so for those of you listening, when we record this, Boston has a poster up as part of the one of the fourths on the video screen for the YouTube recording.
Yep.
And you went with the reveal, essentially, poster, which is just the words "the Batman" with a bat in the background. You didn't actually use the movie poster,
right?
Which is good, because that means you don't know a couple of things because of the movie poster, which gives away certain things, which is just whatever.
Sure. I also like how the Batarang looks. Like this isn't a Batarang, but you could see this being like Batman's sketch for what would turn into the Batarang of like, yeah, that Bruce Wayne, that looks cool.
You're missing two important Batman characters that you haven't taken
Commissioner
a swing
Gordon.
at yet.
Man.
And another one.
Whoever Zoe Kravitz plays.
Okay, so you know Zoe Kravitz is in the movie. Nope, that's not the one I was talking about, but you're missing another one. Vital figures in Bruce Wayne's life.
Oh, Alfred.
Especially, there you go.
Okay. Oh, man, are we going to get... Who was Alfred in the DCEU again?
Oh, I can't remember his name, but he's got the best voice in the business.
Also, like
the best voices in the business.
Snarkiest Alfred, which I appreciate an Alfred that like gives Bruce Wayne the business. I'm
gonna look up his name because I always forget it. He was in Dungeons and Dragons, the movie. He's been in so much stuff. He's so good.
Another movie that we need to find a season for.
Jeremy Irons.
Thank you. Please see our previous comments about tired/sick, etc.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like...
So you got two people here. Two people you need to cast. And keep in mind, it's younger Bruce.
Yeah, so, like, is Commissioner
So you're not going to be
Gordon
Jeremy
a
Irons.
commish at this point? Or is he Detective Gordon? Detective Lieutenant Gordon? Yeah, those are really... To me, those are the kind of... linchpin characters for a Batman, is those kind of like...
Because Batfleck is good, but the best part of Batfleck is Jeremy Irons as Alfred.
Yeah. Because you need that... Batman needs that kind of balance of like...
human connection.
Yeah, and like also someone to be like, yes, Master Wayne, going out and running a suicide mission sounds like a really great plan. Good idea. And he's like, well, maybe Alfred has a point. I guess. I am the Batman. I don't know who either one of those could be. Because part of what I would want, and there's enough huge actors in this movie to not have it be that case, I would sort of want it to be an unknown, like two kind of breakout actors that are cutting their teeth a little bit. I'm sure it's not going to be that case because everybody in this movie seems to be a big actor. Yeah, but that's kind of what I would want in that role.
So the person who plays Gordon, I haven't seen in enough stuff.
Okay.
He's still a solid actor. I just haven't seen him in enough stuff to know.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a TV show that I genuinely adored for a season. That could be any one of 50 TV shows, to be honest.
Right.
So, good luck.
That's right.
I cannot wait till you find out who Alfred is.
Is it like a total left field actor?
It is someone who you wouldn't expect to be Alfred, but when the performance happens, you're like, okay, now I get it.
Okay.
It makes perfect sense that you would be Alfred.
Okay.
And it's someone you have seen before many times. And someone you haven't seen before many times.
Okay.
That will make perfect sense to everybody who is listening who has seen this movie.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know of anybody else that I could think of, because it sounds like we already have a couple of villains, and then we have the kind of hero staple characters. So anybody above and beyond that are going to kind of be pleasant surprises at this point.
So many villains in this movie.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Joker's got to show up here somewhere in the background. Hey, this
You
dude
hope.
fell into a vat of something. Now he's crazy.
Yeah.
The boys in the lab are on it.
What is it? Ace Chemicals?
Ace Chemicals, yeah. Oh, the only reason I know that is because I've been watching the superhero girls show. So the lady that the woman that made the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic show, she is or was, I think it might have gotten canceled, was lead on a show of a bunch of female DC superheroes that are in high school. And my kid loves it. So I only know that because of that.
It's like that Disney show about the kids who are kids of famous villains.
Yes,
whatever
exactly.
that's called.
Yeah, Descendants.
That's the one.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I definitely have not seen those 50 million times each. God. All right. Do you have any final thoughts here before we check it out?
Nope. I've seen this movie. I know what's going to happen. I look forward to your reaction to what is going to happen. Oh.
Yes.
Buckle in.
Okay. I know this is a long one.
Yeah, I was going to say, have you seen the runtime?
This says it's 176 minutes, so...
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a long one.
I'm okay with that if it's good. We saw the Dune movies. Those were good.
True.
Yeah.
Those were great.
If you started listening to this and you haven't listened to that season, go listen to the Dune season for some real good 5-star runtime episodes over there, for sure.
Uh-huh.
All right. On that note, let's go watch the film.
Yep.
We're back from our trip to Gotham.
Gotham, Chicago, tomato.
Gotham in the daylight for once in this movie.
Yeah.
Which is sort of like,
more than you expect as well.
What's happening here? Moon, I have to give you a lot of credit. I didn't realize how much of this movie revolved around riddles, since I wasn't 100% sure how, if Paul Dano was the Riddler or not, and you actually gave me a riddle for who Alfred is, and as soon as he popped up on screen, I'm like, oh, it's Andy Serkis. I have seen him and not seen him at the same time. I got it. All right. So good for you for staying thematically appropriate here and giving me a riddle. Man, Andy Serkis, not in this movie. Let's talk about the cast here a little bit before we start. Bat Pats, Robert Pattinson.
We'll get into it, I'm sure.
Yeah, he'll be the kind of focal point here for the episode. Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle / Catwoman.
Mm-hmm. She
No,
has a thing for strays.
yeah, that's a pretty good line.
Yes.
Not my favorite performance in this movie. She's fine. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like a large majority of it, though, is because her mask looks really stupid.
Because it's a balaclava with fluffy ears.
I love the fluffy ears. I just don't. The like single strip across her nose is the part
Yeah,
that
that's a
is
bit
just,
rough.
just.
Yeah.
I do like the little like the hints of cat ears on top of it. I think that's pretty good,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know, man. Paul Dano as a Riddler
Mm-hmm.
playing.
The whole... hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
playing a very different Paul Dano than usual, doing a lot more like impassioned yelling,
Yes.
which I don't associate with him, which I think is part of the reason why I liked him so much in this role. Is
Mm-hmm.
he had that fire that when the movie, when the Riddler hit him gathering his army pays off at the end of the movie.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, now I'm seeing
Playing a different take on the Riddler, one might say. A
Yeah.
more modern take on the Riddler, one might say.
a more unfortunately modern take on the Riddler.
Yeah. Unfortunately accurate modern take on the Riddler.
Yeah. Gordon here, Jeffrey Wright plays him, who I agree. I wish the script was better for him, but I think he does a really great job in this role. My only criticism is I wish there were a lot less scenes of him going like, my God, he's sick. You know, it's just like
Yes.
that. I feel like that's 75% of what he said, or he's just Batman says something where he's like,
He's somehow shocked.
right, he's like, it's the
something
riddle of
that's
the
happening.
Sphinx. And, you know, Gordon goes, the Sphinx? You know, he's like
Everyone feels like they have a Batman voice in this a little bit.
yeah, but he's also the, like, Solid Snake sort of thing, where it's like, the Sphinx? It's like, yes, Snake, the Sphinx is the you know, blah, 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 blah. John Turturro as Falcone is a really great role for, like, Turturro's great. I don't know if I've seen him in anything I haven't liked him in.
He was even great in the Transformers movies.
Yes, yeah. And he's really good here of just that, like...
The menace. The underlying menace at any given second.
Yeah, and, like, the quiet menace of just, like, what are you gonna do to me? I literally run this town. I've run this town for decades. Like, why do I need to be scared of you? There's nothing you can do to me. And on the other side of that, Colin Farrell as the Penguin, who...
Unrecognizable Colin Farrell.
Really great prosthetics, man. Like, and also a really good performance from him of just the... Like, I think the Penguin...
The second in command kind of thing. Like, he's not the Penguin yet.
Right. He's still Oz.
Yes.
Which... And I, like...
Although... I don't know if you saw it, the Penguin TV trailer got dropped this week.
I didn't, because I wanted to watch this first and talk about it first before I saw that. But, like, it's interesting because I think when you look at, like, for our generation, Batman Returns is probably the Penguin we think of, because I don't remember him being a super big part of the animated series.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty... bombastic performance in that movie. So to see a kind of down-to-earth mob take on the Penguin, I think is really cool of just this, like you said, the second in command, the like...
And he's the proprietor of the Iceberg Lounge. Like,
right.
That's it.
Such a great name for the Penguins Club.
No. The club within the club. 44 Below.
That's... When she said that, and I was just like, 44 Below? What are you talking about? And I was like, oh, it's the club in the club. And I was like, you know, yeah, all right. That's pretty good. I think you nailed that one. Okay. let's get into the movie itself here, because that's pretty much all of our main actors here. I really, really loved this movie, and I think
it has a couple of flaws, which we'll get to when we get there.
I think one of the biggest reasons for me, and I know this goes counter to almost every movie we've talked about on the show, I liked it a lot because it was 3 hours. It was... The movie gets so much room to breathe.
It's so slow and deliberate in so many different ways.
Man, it's so... And, like, I like that because of that, you get to see Batman be the detective. You know, we don't get that in a lot of Batman stuff. You know, he is the world's greatest detective, and it's usually like batarangs, pew, pew, pew. You know, that sort of driving the Batmobile around.
Yeah, usually we see the billionaire playboy side, not the actual detective side.
Right.
And it probably helps a lot that this movie is about Batman. It's not about Bruce. In fact, it's all about Bruce trying to ignore Bruce and just focus on Batman. Young Batman.
Yeah. And I like, too, we'll talk about it here when we get to the ending. I like that it's a very different Batman from what we usually get. No matter if it's in kind of the... I'm leaving the comics out, but like the animated series that we grew up with, or the movies that have come out so far. A very different Batman. Yeah, even the games. Yeah. Like a very different Batman from what we get here.
I do like the fact that it starts with a dead parent's fake out, though.
I think that's really clever, because the whole time I'm watching, and I was like, oh, it's a kid, it's Halloween, oh, here we go, okay. But for them to do the fake out here, I think is really good. And we see we get that first kind of glimpse of the Riddler
in the shadows in the background.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss reveal when he moves out the way and he's literally right behind him, and you only see the glasses.
It's so good. Like, having him wear those glasses, because the Riddler outfit by itself isn't that remarkable. Like, in a way that
this version, yes.
Right. And I feel like it's probably them trying to do the polar opposite of what you usually see for Riddler, which is this very over-the-top, like, Chris Tucker in The Fifth Element sort of thing. Like, it's...
They got Jim Carrey to play him in one of the Batman movies. That tells you exactly what you need to know about his normal performance.
Like, and seeing him just kind of being in this kind of, like, leather mask and trench coat is fine, but having the glasses there, I think, for me, really sells the outfit in kind of an interesting way.
Yeah.
And seeing, like you said, seeing that first shot of him with the glasses, it's like, oh, that's genuinely pretty unsettling. My goodness. Yikes.
Yeah. One of my first notes after that is, oh no, the mayor is dead. Batman is Rorschach.
That's right. That's right. Oh, man.
Day 532. Yeah. 2 years of nights have made me a nocturnal animal.
It's so good. I didn't really mind his Batman voice.
No, it was pretty solid. It wasn't overly gruff. It wasn't. It was literally just a slight pitch shift, so you don't know exactly who it is.
And I think part of the reason why I liked it is it sounds more tired than anything else.
Yes.
Like, this is a Batman who's like, I've been a vigilante for 2 years or so. I'm pretty tired, man. This is a rough gig.
I will say, like, that this introduction to Batman, this is what I've referred to as the Fear is a Tool montage, when it's showing you the various crimes happening throughout the city.
Yep.
The sound design in this movie is insanely good, because it goes from super loud and oppressive to very subtle and then before you know it, it will shift to something else, and it'll push back in on you, and like white noise just pushing in, and then it changes to something more oppressive. The general sound design in this movie is a thing of beauty.
Yep. And like the number of times we get a scene where you hear his boots stomping down a hallway, and every time it's just like, man, that is incredibly cool. Jeez.
Oh, it's even better than you think.
Yep.
The score of the movie is basically set up with 3 light beats and a heavier beat.
Okay.
And when his footsteps are hitting, they do 3 light footsteps and 1 heavier one. 3 light footsteps and 1 heavier one. So his footsteps match the score of the movie.
Jeez. That's great.
Yeah. Furious Tool montage to the train platform fight, which we have to talk about.
Not my favorite fight of this film, but it's
comes later in 44 Below, and I already know which one it is because it's the best one in the movie.
It's incredibly cool. But this one is just like, I will never get tired of a bunch of goons just being like, look at this freak. What are you wearing?
I love the fact that it leads up to like all of the because it's doing like the crime montage, and it's got the dude holding up the store, it's got the person robbing the purse, it's
the dude
got
just like punching someone running.
Yeah, then these guys on the train, and like while it's doing it, when it does the shot of the bat signal, which I love the bat signal in this movie too, by the way.
Yep.
But the fact that once everybody sees it, everyone looks into a dark shadow, like corridor, and gets scared because nobody really knows if he's there or not.
And he's been around long enough that they know him. It's not like you know, what are you doing wearing this outfit? You got a little cape, little buddy. Like it's enough to be like.
As he walks out of that alleyway at the train station, though. It's a good suit, dude. It's a very good suit.
I like this suit a lot. I was reading a little bit about them making the suit and them trying to communicate that he might be. This is sort of the Batman era where he's putting it together himself. Like he's not discreetly going out and making the suit as a suit, but he's putting it together with parts and things that he's finding, and it's like not totally kit bash, but it's not much better than that. And it really feels like that, especially when you look at the cowl. Like that stuff looks like well put together, but kind of not all the way there yet.
One of the things I learned after this watch was we all know the famous stories about how inflexible the suit was. Like, Clooney couldn't turn his head. Christian Bale had the same problem in the first Batman movie. Then they referenced that in the second Batman movie with him in it, by him saying, "I'd like to be able to turn my head."
Right.
This suit was so flexible that Pattinson could legitimately do backflips while wearing it.
That's cool. Man.
Like, thank you, costume designers, for not only that, but also us. But we'll get there with us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. And I feel like a lot hinges on Batman's introduction in these movies, and I'm happy with where his introduction was in this one. And
I'm just wrecking that gang of street thugs.
Yeah, but still letting that one guy go, the one that only has half.
The one who's, it looks like he was this was his initiation rite kind of thing.
It's like a little on the nose that only half of his face is painted, because he's like only half of his heart is in it. But I'm like, all right, that's fine. I'm not gonna raise too much of a stink about that one.
One thing I didn't know as well is that when he beats the crap out of that dude, the final 2 punches and then him saying "I am vengeance," ad-libbed.
Great.
Pattinson just made that up on the moment.
Just way into being Batman.
I also want to give him credit here, like Robert Pattinson. He's notoriously a famous troll when it comes to interviews.
Yes.
He just likes messing with people so much.
Yeah.
One of the interviews he did before this movie came out was like, "Yeah, I didn't even train for it. Like, I mean, everything's special effects these days. Like, I didn't do nothing. No physical training, no nothing. It was great. Fantastic. Clearly he did." But him saying that in interviews is just chef's kiss troll level from him.
I wasn't actually looking for an interview from him for this movie today, but I ran across something on Twitter about him trolling another interviewer where they're like, how did you prepare for Batman? Like, how did you really get into the role? And he said, well, I spent a whole lot of time in my trailer playing Sonic Adventure 2, but only the Shadow the Hedgehog chapters, because I really wanted to, like, embody the most evil darkness I could. And I'm like, yep, great. I love you. You're so good.
Such a troll.
It's great. I think it's really interesting, too, the opposite way that he plays Bruce in this. And I think Bruce gets a pretty cool introduction here, too. Which I feel like is the tough balancing act of these movies, is like, you gotta make Batman look either cool or scary. And you gotta make Bruce look like he's a rich, hot dude. And I like that they don't do that in this.
They go for the rich.
Yeah, and that's, like, the rest of it is kind of, like, I say this with all the love in my heart, a heavy dash of emo in here.
Yeah,
like, stereotypical emo.
Literally later on I have there's my emo Bruce note, right. When he gets his introduction wherever that is, which is way down here. Emo Bruce says Alfred is not his daddy.
That's right. Very much like the new metal, like, you're not even my dad.
Yeah, and that's right after Nirvana's Something in the Way is playing too. I
forgot how good of a song that was. And it's been stuck in my head ever since. And I was like, you know what? That's a pretty... If you're going to license one song for this movie, you picked a pretty good one.
Yeah, they did. And it also... I don't think it was ever released commercially. Like, I don't think that particular version of it was.
Yeah.
But after this movie came out, it sure as hell hit number 2 on the top 100 because of streaming and digital purchases.
Oh, man, yeah. That's a track. But like you said, it's very on the nose for emo Bruce, of just like, listen to Nirvana in my basement, Alfred.
Yep. Which he even turns down because it's diegetic music, because that's actually what he's listening to.
It's so good. It's really great. I do have to mention how, while I was watching this, I did really appreciate how funny the movie was, because my next note, and I don't know how long after that it takes, but my next note is thumb drive, which we talked about in the intro part here.
We jumped over the part where he goes to the crime scene for the first time with the dead mayor.
Yes, yep.
And he gets invited there by Lieutenant Gordon.
Right. A wink.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Because there is literally an envelope with his name on it.
Right. To the Batman. Which is a very good way of putting the Batman's title
in the movie without.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We find out that, like, the guy was bashed to death. He had his thumb cut off.
Yep.
Before he died, Batman detects, because Batman is a detective.
He knows his stuff.
What does a liar do when he's dead?
You know, I really like that so much of the friction between Batman and the Riddler are riddles. Like, it's not, these people are going to die if you don't solve this riddle. Like, that comes up here in a little bit. But it's very much like, if you want to know what I'm doing, if you want to know why I'm doing this, you have to solve these riddles. And I like that. I feel like if it was
By the way, for anybody listening, he lies still is the answer to that.
Yeah. Which is really good. But, like, I feel like I appreciate that the movie didn't turn into like a light Saw film, because I feel like that if you want to make the Riddler dark,
it
you
has
just
its
make a Saw
moments.
movie.
It has its moments because the way the Riddler deals with people is very Saw-like.
Right, but it's not like you have 15 minutes and these 5 riddles.
Yeah, that's true.
Except for the one scene.
Yes.
But yeah, I liked that scene because I like that there's still... I like that there's the beginning of the relationship between Batman and Gordon, of Gordon sort of looking around and being like, none
of the cops like him.
Yeah, and like he kind of like he senses that there's something going on with the cops, but he doesn't have his finger on it yet. And him working with Batman illuminates like, okay, this is what we should be doing. I don't know what everybody else is doing, but it doesn't seem to be the right thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thumb drive thing comes up because they find the key, the key hidden in the whatchamacallit on the card, and I can't even remember where it is, but it's on the crime scene. They find a bunch of numbers, and they find the key is the key to answer the riddle. He lies still, and then him and Alfred both work on the key, the solution to the riddle. They figure out just use the key, don't take all of the rest of it out, and it says drive in the numbers. I will say I like the fact that this movie doesn't flat out say, but it alludes to Andy Serkis's Alfred's time as like MI6, because he refers to the circus, which is the code name for their MI6, and he's also a very good code breaker, it turns out, and he was also a bodyguard, as it turns out.
Wink.
Yeah, so MI6 like history, because it's well known that Alfred is a badass. Like, everybody knows that. But yeah, they break the code, which is drive, and that's when Batman goes back out and summons Lieutenant Gordon to the mayor's garage with 19 cars in it.
It's such a good. One of them says like it must be nice to be mayor. Like it's such a good. They're sowing the seeds to be paid off at the end of the movie of like. There's clearly something going on. Like the historically the thing about Gotham has been haves and have-nots. It's sort of like the majority of Gotham is terrible for regular people, and then you have the 0.1 percenters that are driving 19.
The Waynes and the Arkhams.
Exactly, which is so good. But I like that they go into his garage and it's just like, oh. Of course. Why wouldn't he have 19 fancy cars? Sure.
And which car is it? Oh, it's the one with the bloody scissors attached to it. In the tire.
Yep.
That's when we get thumb drive.
It's really there are a couple of
the deadpan nature of the way he says it. He pulls it up and he's like thumb drive.
It's so good. Like
so. This is what I was talking about when I said I had recently this described as like gothic camp.
Yes.
And like scenes like that is why it's like, yeah, I can kind of see where you're coming from.
So like one of the things I liked a lot about this movie is how it is genuinely funny in a couple of scenes like this, and there's one I'll mention here in a second. And
is that the dock interrogation scene? Because that's the dock interrogation scene, then I know exactly where you're going with it. But we'll get there.
No, there's a different one. But like I'm like so desensitized to the MCU in general that I'm
Whedonisms. You can just say Whedonisms.
That's fair. I don't like him, so we can say Whedonisms. That like a bunch of there's a really great when they're in the Riddler's apartment and Batman is flipping through books. And one of the cops is like, hey man, like chain of custody. Should he be touching these? And Gordon looks at him and goes, he's wearing gloves. I was just like, that's really funny, man. That's really good. Like you get it. Screenwriters.
Yep.
2 thumbs up.
It's also the type of thing that Gordon would say when he's surrounded by potentially crooked cops at that point.
Exactly. Like, who cares about chain of custody, man? Like, one of you is going to shoot me in the back. Just want to find the Riddler. But yeah.
Yeah, Gordon puts the stupid thumb drive in his own computer. Where is your sister?
Security 101, man. Come on.
Like, even I know that.
Where's your laptop that's not connected to the internet? Come on. Gordon. Not going to make commission on that by that rate.
Nope. Well, depends on how many people get killed before the movie ends.
That's true.
This is where Bat goes to see Penguin. And
right.
Possibly one of my favorite Batman one-liners in this is when the twins open up the door at the club and like, who are you? And he's like, you know who I am. I want to see the Penguin. And the guy closes the door, opens it, and then both of the twins are standing there at the door. And the guy's like, oh, I'm going to enjoy this. That little suit of yours is going to be full of blood. And Batman says, mine or yours. It's a great line.
It's so, like, he's just so out of patience with all of these people. It's so good. He's just like, come on, man. What are you going to do? Seriously. But I do like that this is a really good introduction to
Oz.
Yeah, to Oz as he is at the moment of like it's interesting because throughout the majority of the movie he's not really power hungry in an obvious way.
Nope.
Like
not at all. He owns his little club. He gets his little payouts.
Yeah.
It probably helps that the person who's living in his club is the person who runs the city. That probably definitely helps him a lot. I do like. This is another one of those scenes where the music in the club just becomes super oppressive, like really loud and bombastic and like pushing down on you at the same time.
Yep.
Fantastic sequence. I like the fact that they have a parlay. The Bat and the Penguin just have a little chit chat. This is where we meet Zoe Kravitz's Selena Kyle, of course. Bat starts to put things together, like she knows who the girl is from the thumb drive, and gets a bunch of drugs from Oz as well. Right.
Which is there's that. I like that they call the drug users drop heads. That's a really, like, they talk about that. Forgot to talk about the really great rainy scene that opens this movie where everybody's kind of caught in the rain during Halloween. That guy that has a drop as a mask is just drenched completely, which I think is incredibly cool looking.
There's a lot of rain in this city.
Yeah, it's really cool looking. And I like that they call them drop heads, which is just a really great, super cheesy term for these drug users.
Yeah.
So,
something I noticed in this movie, this time when I was watching it, when he does the establishing shot of the club, like, because the club is on a street, it's on the right-hand side, you see the cars going in, when he goes in, I can't remember if it's this time or if it's when Catwoman goes in and does the recon. On the left-hand side of your screen, there's an apartment complex. And one of those windows has got a red light on the window and someone looking down and to the right taking photographs.
Oh, wow.
Literally telling you at the start of the movie, there is the Riddler. He's taking photographs of the location.
Right.
That is where he is. That is where he has always been.
Oh,
it pointed out in a red light as well.
Interesting. No, I didn't even notice that.
The coloration in this movie as well, we should probably mention the fact that the shades of color they use is amazing as well.
Yeah. Oh, man, yeah. I actually kind of, you mentioned it where Selena's doing the recon with the camera, what are they called? The
contact lens?
God, thank you. Jesus. I woke up today with a headache, so like my brain is just 75% of it is working, the other 25% it's a lost cause today. I like the effect that they used when you're looking through her eyes. And I like a lot of the banter between her and Batman, of him like trying to drive her around and her not wanting to take orders from this gruff dude.
Yeah, because she only cares about her friend.
Right. And I do, it's
And
so,
that's not a bad thing for the record.
no. But I do like that Batman is even like, oh my god, that's the DA. And we're like, everybody big in the city, what the hell are they doing down here? Go talk to him. And the DA immediately is just like, all right, here is all of the details of everything bad we're doing. Here's all the names. I don't even know who you are.
Because he's high as a kite.
I know, it's so good that he's like, I feel so guilty because like we're running the city and we're ruining it and everybody's getting paid and it's the worst.
He is as high as a kite, and the second that the other girl sitting with him, she starts hearing him talk like this, she's like, I'm out, bye-bye. Yeah. This is the type of thing that got that Russian girl killed.
That's right. Peace. It's really, I love that dude just being like, here's all the details. Oh. That's really great. God, what else happens here next? I think that just leads into... that
leads into the DA getting killed.
Yeah, Coulson. He gets the bomb collar, the Battle Royale bomb collar.
Yeah, because he doesn't technically get killed. He gets kidnapped.
Right.
I love the fact that he sees the headrest of his seat in the passenger seat, and then he's like, "Huh? What's that?"
It's such a good, like, you know that there's something going on, like you know the Riddler is going to get him, and you just don't know how yet. And that little seat rest down, the headrest down, just to make him look behind is so good.
Yeah, and then like the fact that the camera goes out of focus, I
really liked that.
As the wipers are going on the windscreen, and you just see the lights appear as he sticks like the collar thing on him.
Yeah.
Also, Celine was this close to getting in that car.
That's right. That's true. And I think this is where we get the kind of Saw videotape of him saying like, "I have Coulson, hee hee."
This is the memorial for the mayor that everyone shows up to.
Right. That's a different tape we see, I think.
Yeah, because what happens is he goes to the memorial for the mayor, and Falcone makes a joke about how like even the most what is it, the person who's most afraid of coming in, who hasn't been seen in years, he's finally out and about kind of thing, because that's what happened to Bruce. He's not been shown his face. Right. Like nobody's seen him in a long time. And you get the whole story of like Falcone being saved by Bruce's dad, like doing surgery on the table.
And I like that it's told in a way where you're like, I'm not sure this is true, or if he's telling it to mess with Bruce, and being like, oh, so you're kind of saved.
Oh, I got the impression it was true.
Right.
It was just, did he do it because Falcone was a friend, or because, as Bruce claims, he took an oath to do no harm?
Right. Yeah. He took a Hippocratic oath. I like that he's just like, oh, an oath. Just like, oh boy. Also, like when Bruce tries to go talk to Falcone, the twins, I think it's the twins, are there and be like, hey buddy, what do you do? What is that? What do you And Falcone's like,
give us some space here.
Yeah, and Falcone's like, when he's like, well,
wow, if it isn't Bruce Wayne.
It's so like I like that even Falcone couldn't help himself but be interested, because that's been how long it's been since people have seen Bruce. Like, I think that's a cool touch.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And it's not just billionaire playboy out on the town, and then he's really sad in the Batcave. Like, it's just sort of like, no, he's not around.
Legitimately,
man.
He hasn't been seen in public in like 2 years.
Yeah, it's really good.
I mean, you get allusions to it because Alfred's like, yo, the board need to see you, dude. Like, this is the I'm not your daddy speech.
Right. And also, like, planting the seeds that Wayne Tech is still there. Like,
but struggling.
Right. Because it's just like a rudderless ship.
But yeah, this is where the DA crashes the memorial.
Right.
By driving the car through the church. And Bruce Wayne saves the orphan kid.
Right.
Who Batman saw earlier because it's the mayor's son. The second time the kid has been seen in this movie. The third time is probably the most important time.
Right. I do really like that shot when the car busts in the doors. Anytime a car drives through a building in this movie, it looks really cool.
Yep. I mean, arguably, anytime a car drives in this movie, it looks really cool because there's only like 2 shots.
That's true. Also, really like that Gordon's car is financially appropriate for him.
Yes,
it's a real 100%. Beater.
It's not a great car.
No, Bruce is pulling up with the Batmobile, and he's just like, "I'm here in my Saturn that has seen better days."
Yeah, this is the neck bomb scene in the church, though. This is where the DA comes out and he's got the envelope that says "To the Batman" written on it. So everybody it becomes like this, what appears like a 12-hour standoff while he just sits there in the church.
Yep.
The police are all outside, and then Batman walks in from the back door and he's just like, "Yo, Batman's here."
Yeah, because they even have like the little bomb robot that's like, "Are you okay?" And it's like, "No, not really. It's been a while.
Dude. I got a bomb."
Yeah, I'm not doing great. I do like you said, Batman just walks in from outside and he's like, "Hey man, what's up?" "Oh yeah, bomb robot, cute. Anyways, let's solve this bomb problem."
Yup.
And I really, really like this standoff between Batman and Riddler, where Riddler's giving the DA...
It's not even between Batman and the Riddler. This is between the DA and the Riddler. Batman is just there.
Yeah, and like Batman's there to be the solution to the riddles because the DA can't figure them out.
We did jump over the commissioner being killed off screen, by the way. He got his face eaten by rats.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that was... Oof.
Follow the maze until you find the rat, bring him into the light, and you'll find him where I'm at.
Right.
That solution will come out later.
The Spanish for rat. the joke on that we'll touch on in a minute.
That's this one.
Okay.
This one is the "You are El Rata Alada" is the one that's taped to this guy's chest.
Oh my god, it's so good. We'll get there. Anyways, it's so good. But I really do like this whole scene of this kind of tense...
5 minutes, 3 riddles, answer them or you're dead. And I like the fact that Batman answers... He decodes the riddles for the DA to answer.
Right.
And the Riddler gives the explanation behind them. It can be cruel, poetic, or blind, but when it's denied, it's violence you may find.
Right.
Justice. That's the first riddle.
Right.
You're supposed to be a beacon of justice. You're the DA. You're supposed to protect the justice. If you are justice, please do not lie. What is the price for your blind eye? It's a bribe. Right. How much were you paid? And the DA answers, 10 grand a month to look the other way on certain cases.
And I that was the riddle where I'm sort of like, all right, I feel like this movie is kind of continuing to turn in a great way. Like it continues to... The ship continues to turn in a good direction, where I'm like, okay, these could have been 3 increasingly more difficult riddles as time went on, but they had nothing to do. They were just riddles. They're, like we said,
they're super thematic to the point the Riddler is trying to make.
It's not just like I walk on 3 legs at sunset, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's great. But like,
have you been playing Lies of P? Because that's a legitimate riddle in Lies of P.
No, that's just the Sphinx. The Sphinx's famous riddle. But I like you said, like they're thematic, so it's sort of like, all right. How much was the bribe? Like, what did it cost Gotham for you to turn an eye?
Yep. And the final one is, since your justice is so select, please tell us which vermin you're paid to protect. Tell us who the rat is. And he refuses.
It's a really good performance from that dude, too, of just like, no, I'm not...
He just saw as God, by the way.
Yes. I'm not going to tell you because I'm dead either way. And
yeah,
just like,
if it's like this, at least it's me. But I got family, I got friends. And if it happens like this, then at least it's just me.
It's such a good, like that's such a good performance from him saying like, you. It's hard, I think, in movies like this to impress upon the severity of whoever's pulling the strings of just like, I will die and my family will be okay, but if I say anything, then everybody's dead. So you might want to get out of here. It's just like,
Yep.
okay.
Instead, the Batman just gets blown up.
Right. It's a pretty cool shot from overhead.
It's a really good shot.
Yeah.
It's especially cool the fact that he wakes up at GCPD on a table, surrounded by like 50,000 cops.
I like that. Thankfully, one of them says the thing that you want someone to say in these movies. It's just like, I don't care, man. Just take off the mask. Like, who cares? And that's when he wakes up and starts swinging, and then like, I love how
Gordon calming it down.
I love how many
really
times Gordon has to say "hey." I'm just like, "Hey."
And like 5 or 6 different times he has to get in the middle of everybody.
Because
like it calms down, it
hot.
starts. It calms down, it starts.
Because like Batman keeps running his mouth because he knows they're corrupt.
He does,
and now he knows for sure that they're corrupt, and he always runs his mouth, and then Gordon has to stop it.
Yeah, and I like the fact he's like, look, just give me 2 minutes. Like I'm assuming to like the chief of police,
right?
Because Batman has already run his mouth about maybe you're next,
right.
Bro. Maybe
the
you're
chief
next.
of police with like the most cop voice I've heard in a movie in probably about 10 years of just like, what's it? You're the Batman. You're right. Come on, wear a mask.
Yeah, and like I like the fact that he gives him the room for 2 minutes, and Gordon's like, take this key.
That's
right. You know, fake punch me out, and there's stairs to your right. Take those stairs, that'll take you to the roof. And then Batman's like, yo, who's the dude with like the broken nose over there? Because like he's someone I kind of beat up at like the Iceberg Lounge. And he's like, wait, he's moonlighting at the Iceberg Lounge? Great one-liner again.
Oh, so
or
good.
He moonlights as a cop.
That
is a great line.
That line is so good. I was just like, that, to me, that's Batman in this movie. Is like, you're looking at it wrong. It's probably worse than you think.
Yeah, it's him trying to open Gordon's eyes to exactly how bad the situation has gotten, and he hasn't realized it.
And then he punches Gordon and runs away.
Yeah. And we get the first appearance of the potential cape. The glidey cape, except it's it's a squirrel suit that he puts on, and then crash lands into a bridge, dude.
He totally eats it. I love this scene because I love seeing Batman being bad. He's not good as a hero.
You can tell as well when he gets to that roof. There's this moment where he's like, I really need to do this. I really don't want to do this. I need to do this. I don't want to do this. And he looks behind him like 4 times, and he's like, I sort of have to do it. I kind of need to do this now.
Then he just like eats
I don't know if I have.
That's so good.
Yeah, it bounced off the top of a bus, dude.
That's because like it's going really well all the way until he hits the side of a bridge. Like it's so
like
good.
He pulls his chute, and then that immediately careens him into the bridge.
Yeah,
and then off the bridge, onto the bus, onto the asphalt, and then stumble down the street being like, I
messed up, man. Yeah. God. I do like that there's a continuation of next time he sees Gordon of just like, man, you like, couldn't you have at least pulled your punch? And Batman says, I did. It's just like, that's really good.
But he legitimately punched him in the face too.
He clocks him, man. It's so good.
It's really rough.
Oh man.
This is where we get to like the docs, like the drug meeting at the labs and everything like that. And Gordon, this is the moment you're talking about where like Batman's there. We don't see, or is Batman in just a regular car at that point, or is he on his bike? I don't know.
I think he's on his bike. Up until we see the Batmobile, I think he's just on his bike. Or he's either just there.
Yeah. And, like, they're talking about, like, what they're seeing. Oz shows up with a whole bunch of drugs and money. And Catwoman shows up. Did you notice what she uses as a whip?
No, I didn't. Because sometimes I watched this movie in, like, 3 or 4 sessions. And about half of this movie, I was watching it when it was really bright out, and I like couldn't make my house dark enough to watch the movie. So some of the finer details in some of these scenes were a little bit hard.
So she pulls up to the docks, and when she pulls up to the dock, she's on her bike.
Mm-hmm.
So she pulls out her bike lock. That is the thing she's using as a whip, is the big, thick chain for motorbikes.
That's really good.
It's a nice little touch.
Because like
that's what she uses to wipe everybody out.
Because she's not gonna go buy a whip. She doesn't have money, so like she needs to use what's on hand. That's really good.
It's a big old thick chain from the bike.
Yeah, that's real good.
But yeah, they find the dead girl and a bunch of money. Blah 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 blah. A shootout moment. She steals a suitcase full of money. And then Oswald runs away in his car.
Yep.
And the reveal happens.
The like throaty, off camera in the shadows Batmobile is really good.
And then you hear the jet start.
And the
then
camera
that line just pans up. The line just keeps getting louder and louder and louder. This is another part of the sound design. I love it because Oz is in his car. He hasn't actually left yet.
Right.
But the second the Batman revs that car and it makes the noises that it makes, he's out of there as quickly as he can possibly get.
Yeah, because basically who's left is Oz, Gordon, and Selene. And
Selene's already booking it with the
right,
money
they're like ready to go. And the moment everybody hears that thing kick on, they all freeze. Like, it's such a good deer in the headlights moment.
Quite literally as well, because that is a great Batmobile. I'm not going to lie.
It's really good.
Like, it's just a Charger or something with a jet engine in the back and some extra fins thrown on the side of it. But it's so well, like, the design is great. The sound design is intense as hell. Like, I like the fact that you don't get a whole lot of cockpit views. It's just regular car looking inside of it.
A lot of seeing it behind
from
Oz.
Oz's view.
Right.
Yeah, all of this is from Oz's perspective, and that thing is scary.
Because he's being hunted, and like you said, I like that it's basically just a Charger, like, that's been souped up way too much. Because it's just like his suit, and it's just like the cape, and it's just like everything else, where it's like, I need a little bit more oomph to do the job. I'm just gonna put together what I can, which I guess is a jet engine and a Dodge Charger. Like, I can get that to work.
It's so good, dude. Like, it looks incredible. The engine on the back end of it is insane. It sounds incredible. I love the way it's shot. Where the only light you really see from it is like when the headlights are on or when the engine is going. Like, it's the only time you ever really see it.
It's like a tiger's eyes in the jungle. Like, you can only see the reflection and like the scariest parts of it. You don't get to see the whole thing.
It's so good, dude.
You know, speaking of how things are shot, we haven't even talked about some of the really cool kind of attached camera work we've seen in a lot of this stuff, where like the camera is attached to Batman's back and we're seeing behind him as he's flying, or, you know, where it's attached to his chest where he's jumping backwards off of something, and we get to see the camera attached to the actor falling away. Like, there's so many cool shots of it being like, here's it attached to the side of a car, or like we see a lot of it on
this entire sequence is, it's attached in different places to specifically Oz's car. It's not the Batmobile. You barely really see anything from the Batmobile's perspective. There's one or two shots here or there, but mostly it's, I have this thing hunting me down. Like you said, it's a really great descriptor of him hunting him in this sequence. And it's an intense car sequence. Like, it is a very intense car sequence. And it's a lot in the rain.
Right, of course. And it's a lot like, you know, you were talking about it a little bit ago about the out of focus shot when the Riddler is attacking the DA in his car. It's scarier. It's the Fight Club thing. It's scarier not seeing it. It's more intense letting your brain fill in the blanks. just like when we're seeing the Batmobile chasing Oz. It's way scarier just to see the blue flame coming out of the back of it every once in a while, and just seeing it chasing him through Gotham. It's like, it's so good.
The climax of this sequence as well is just incredible. Like Penguin causes a huge crash, and like then bunch of explosions are happening. He's like, "Yeah, I got you. I killed the bat." Ha 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 ha. And that's when it cuts to inside the Batmobile. Batman does his Fast and the Furious moment and double hits that nose.
Yep.
2 noses for the price of 1.
Right.
The jet engine goes full power and it goes up that ramp. Him coming through that fire from Oz's perspective.
So good.
It's really, really good.
That's a great shot. Like, it's
especially because he takes off. Like, he's like, uh-oh. He gets that one moment of uh-oh, and then he's gone. Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna go.
His stomach gets, like, fell through the
2
floor.
feet. Like 2 feet, and then that thing hits him in the side, and he just barrel rolls. Like, that shot of him in the car as it barrel rolls is also incredibly well done.
Yeah. This whole scene especially is really interesting, because I feel like this movie isn't, as much as we're fans of the Fast and Furious movies, I like that this movie is much more about the reactions and the consequences. Like, the Batmobile jumping through the fire looks incredible, but that's not the point. The point is, I rammed Oz's car and it's going flipping 50 different times as it goes down the road. Like,
yeah,
that's really cool.
It's also like very much based in reality kind of thing. Like it's not like he rams him into the sky or anything like that. It's like, no, he hit him with the jet engine powered car.
Right.
And then the upside down, like the shot of it, it's so impressively shot as well because it's all black and only lit by fire. So it's all black and red, which has been a theme throughout the course of the movie.
Right.
But then when you see Batman get out of the car and it's the upside down shot of him walking towards Oz, and he just bends over and sticks his head into the frame.
That's a great shot. Just like, hey buddy, what are you doing down there? Oh man. I think this is where we start, like, the trail starts leading Batman to the orphanage, I believe, where he starts figuring out, like, hey, the orphanage is really kind of one more piece of the puzzle here.
It is, but we also can't talk about this without the El Rata
interrogation scene.
El Rata Alada interrogation scene where he makes fun of that terrible Spanish.
It's so good that he's just like, do neither of you geniuses know Spanish? Like, you don't know the difference between El and La? And I was just like, this is really good. This is a really good... I feel like most movies would cut this, but this is... I like that he's, like, taking the piss out of both of them at the same time of, like, you got me tied up, but, like, you two are stupid.
What is this? Bad cop and psychopath cop is one of my favorite lines.
Yep.
But they figure out El Rata Alada leads to URL, which gives them the answer. It gives them basically a talking prompt. They get a hackers-related talking prompt with the Riddler.
Check out last season.
Where that leads them to the orphanage. But we cannot leave this scene without talking about the fact that they leave with the Penguin still tied up. And as he's asking them to untie him, he's literally waddling in the middle of the shot like a penguin would.
Yep. It's really good. I also like that he's like, come on. You guys suck. What the hell? Yeah. Oh, man. I think this whole orphanage thing is okay. I like where it eventually got to when you get to the whatever big room it is, kind of at the top of the orphanage.
The renewal project reveal.
Yeah. I really like that this is what the underworld hinges on in this movie. That the seemingly good thing that Thomas Wayne was trying to do.
And the new mayor even called it out. Like renewal has been happening for 10 years now.
Yeah.
Like nothing's changed.
Right. Like I like that this is the golden goose that everybody is tapping into, because it's this black box of an impossible amount of money that has no accountability. I was like, that's a really good piece in this movie. It's
literally swordfish plot.
Swordfish coming for us again, man.
But
I think
fish.
That's right. Kill me every time. But I really like that as a thing that both Batman and the Riddler take an issue with. Like, it's the thing that's poisoning the city. It's just that
Riddler knows how, Batman doesn't.
Right. And, like, the Riddler has his own way of addressing the issue, which obviously isn't good. But I like that he's sort of saying, like, I found this out, and I need you to walk the path to figure out what's happening, because you're too close to it. But this is the thing that's killing Gotham, and has been killing Gotham for 10 years. I think that's really smart.
Yep. I'm laughing here because we find out that Bruce Wayne is the next victim, who has a bomb sent to him. Great cinematography here, great use of editing, because it's him in the Batmobile driving as quickly as he can back to home base, and he's ringing the phone, and the engine of the car is so loud that you don't actually hear him scream when he's screaming with frustration in the car. I think that's an incredible shot. And then, like, you see Alfred, like, leaning towards the phone, picking up the mail, then the phone's ringing.
I like the phone ringing very quietly in the background.
Yeah, and, like, when the phone gets picked up, it's not Alfred who's picked it up, it's one of the maids, because it's the Watchmen thing. It's the, I'm telling you all this because I did it 20 minutes ago.
Exactly.
Like, it's already been taken care of.
Like something terrible has already happened. And, like, the cut from her on the phone to her on the phone with the firefighters coming up the stairs, that's a really good shot. Of, like, no, that thing has already happened, and it is well past when that happened. It was all the way bad, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Like, you missed it because you didn't actually detect well enough. Right.
Alfred is basically in the hospital fighting for his life.
Right.
And this is the part where they ask about Alfred's family, and he's like, nope, it's just me.
Yep. Don't worry about it.
This is where we start the whole "you are my real daddy" transition. But Emo Bruce is back, baby, because he has to move his table in the mansion and spray paint his theory board on the floor.
I feel like you gotta have one of these.
Really? No, you don't. He could have used red tape like everybody else does.
That's true. I will take umbrage with this movie. I really don't like it when people use the double question marks, especially when you should be using an interrobang, and I feel like Emo Bruce Wayne maybe wouldn't be doing that. But it's a fine scene that's sort of like...
Well, I mean, this leads him to go speak to Falcone. Falcone gives him the double storytelling here of Falcone talking about how he was in bed with his dad and how it was like...
is this the scene where Bruce goes to talk to Falcone?
Yes, Bruce, not Batman.
So this is one of my favorite scenes in this movie. Because
he says, "You know who I am" to the twins again, and they just let him in.
Is this where they open the door twice again? Where it's like, look, it is him. Like that's a really good like.
The one dude opens it, and then the second dude's like, "Yeah, it's really Bruce Wayne."
Yeah, but what I love so much about this scene to me is so emblematic of the Bruce Wayne in this movie, because in any other movie with Bruce Wayne in it, Bruce Wayne would have bought his way in, he would have walked there in a super cool suit, he would have been like taking over the room as soon as he came in. But Bruce Wayne throughout the entire movie has his hair in his face, he's like folded up on himself, like he's kind of hunched over, he doesn't want to be anywhere
he doesn't have power or influence yet. He just doesn't.
So to see him slinking quietly into Falcone's office, almost unnoticed by anybody in the room, is so good, because Falcone's just like, hey, little buddy. It's very much like when you come down the stairs when family is over. It's like, look who decided to show their face. What's up? Your aunt's here. What's up? Aunt and uncle are here.
It even says, like, I had a feeling you'd want to have this conversation.
Right. Like, Bruce is does not have the, he's always on the back foot with Falcone the whole time. Falcone's like, yeah, man, I knew you'd show up. I was just waiting for you to do it. Here's the whole story. Yeah,
and he gives him his version of the story.
Right.
At which point he goes back to the hospital and has a heart-to-heart with Alfred. He's like, no, like, your dad didn't think he was going to do it, but he also didn't want to be in bed with him. He kind of asked for something that he should have known what the consequences were going to be.
Right.
Which, I'm sorry, but he's just as stupid as Bruce if he didn't think that was what was going to happen because of it.
It's very much like making a deal with the genie thing. Where it's like, yeah, you asked for the thing to be taken care of, and then Falcone killed him. Like, that's how Falcone takes care of problems, man.
We're also going to ignore the fact that potentially Bruce's mother might have very serious mental health issues and maybe didn't want to get married to one of the Waynes, but we'll paper right over that part of the storyline.
Yeah, there's a little bit there of like,
she was in and out of mental health institutions. Like, okay, is she a willing participant in this relationship? Like, what exactly is going on here?
Right, and a lot of like, we need to cover this up because it's an embarrassment for the Wayne family.
And the Arkhams, which is where she's from.
Right, so like, you see that kind of teamwork between the Waynes and the Arkhams, but not in a good way.
Yes, in fact, possibly the worst way possible.
Right.
I think we missed it, but one of the many times that Batman meets with Catwoman, I like the fact that she's like, look, some people are just desperate and they don't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
And Bruce's response is, well, you shouldn't resort to crime. And she's like, I know you grew up rich. And it's like, yes, thank you.
It's so good.
It's such a good line. Thank you, Catwoman, for pointing that out. That's a great line. I felt that was relevant to this, and we don't want to like skip over that.
Yeah, that's a really good scene.
But yeah, they basically figure out that Falcone is the rat.
Yeah.
Like, what's another type of rat with wings? It's
a falcon. Yep.
So Bruce doesn't go and see Falcone. Batman goes to see Falcone.
Yep.
And this is where we get the best fight scene in the movie.
Oh my god, it's so good.
As he fights his way through the iceberg lounge again.
Yep.
And ruins everybody again. And then he goes to 44 below.
And I like the emergency generators kicking on and it being red, like the rest of this movie.
It's also a race with Catwoman, who is on her way there to kill Falcone anyway, but he doesn't want her dead. We did miss out in the orphanage, another great line. They go in and Gordon turns his flashlight on and cocks his gun, and Batman's like, no guns. He's like, hey, that's your thing.
Yep. It's very much like, hey man, not all of us are billionaires with a suit. Like, give me a break here. But yeah, this shootout in the hallway.
Yep, there it is.
Whew. Like, my jaw was on the floor the entire time. It's a pretty short scene.
It's so good.
But like, it's so cool. It's one of those things where it's like, hey, wait, why haven't we seen this in other big movies by this point? Because this is the sickest thing I've seen in a really long time.
Like, the entire... So, for those of you who don't know, there's a snippet of it in the trailer for the movie, which I'm disappointed that they did that, but whatever. But this is the part where he comes out of the elevator and he has a fight with, like, 8 dudes. But the only thing lighting the scene is when they fire their guns.
Yep.
So it becomes this like staccato flashlight combat sequence where he slowly but surely disarms in every single one of them.
And it's the same thing we were talking about with the Batmobile chasing Oz. All you're seeing is people firing their guns as they're getting knocked out and falling over or missing Batman, and you're only seeing him hunting them. You're not seeing them fighting back or surviving or anything. It's just, like I said, it's a tiger in the jungle. You're not going to make it. It's
and then,
so cool.
Just like at the start of the movie, he walks out of that corridor again.
Yeah. God, it's so cool. God.
That sequence is impeccable, in my opinion.
Man. I love it.
But yeah, they catch the rat. They bring him into the light. Where he's immediately killed.
And it's not by Oz. And it's not by Catwoman. It's not by Batman.
Yeah, it's vitally important as well that we do mention the fact that Falcone, like, is getting brought out as the rat. Yeah. And Oz is like, wait, you're a snitch?
Right.
This whole thing, you were a snitch?
And
Falcone's like, oh, what do you think? You're a big man now, Oz? You think you got power now? You're going to be the one in charge? And he's like, maybe I will be.
Blat. But we also get that really good shot where Batman is taking Falcone out. And Falcone's like, I own the cops. I've been behind the mayor. I'm running this town. What do you think you're going to do to me? And Bruce is basically
like, maybe you don't own all of us.
Right. And there's just that field of cops there ready to bring him in. I was like, all right, that's also pretty cool. Like, maybe some justice will be served. Whoops, nope, he's dead.
Yep, and one of them is also the cop who's been giving Bats crap constantly, but Gordon's been bringing him off of the case a little bit. Like, he's the same one who does the chain of evidence conversation. Like, it's that same cop the whole time.
Yep.
And yeah, that's where the Riddler was. The Riddler was
right across the street,
over the road, upstairs, in that window, exactly where he was at the start. You should totally go back and look at that shot at the beginning, by the way.
Don't worry, I'm definitely going to be watching this movie again, because it's real good.
And yeah, what is it? You bring the rat into the light, you'll know where I'm at.
Yep. There it is. And I like that he's figuring out everything in the, like, trying to figure out everything in the apartment, and someone calls and they're like, hey man, he's like right around the corner. He's
at the diner.
He's in a diner right around the corner. Number one, really love that shot with the diners at the end of the alleyway with the lights on the top and bottom of the window, illuminating that kind of like red and blue at the same time. That shot is incredibly cool looking. And they catch the Riddler, who's just a dude. He's just Paul Dano. Like, sitting there
with a question mark in his coffee.
Yep. Order a piece of pie.
Yep.
Yeah.
And my note here says, let's start Act 4.
Yeah.
So, did you think the movie was over at this point?
No, because I felt like they hadn't finished it yet. Like, whatever the mystery was, it felt like it hadn't gotten wrapped up yet. And I'm glad it wasn't, because we do get that cool interrogation scene between Batman and Riddler.
Yeah, so we need to talk about that scene, because I like the fact that they go into the Riddler's home and there's a whole bunch of paraphernalia all over the wall, Bruce Wayne, all this other kind of stuff.
Yep.
He thinks the Riddler knows. He is 100% sure the Riddler knows who he is. He even says to Gordon, like, maybe this is the end for the Bat.
Yeah, like, he's also like, maybe I'm the next target as, like, Batman this time and not Bruce Wayne. Yeah.
Yep. I like the... So, yes, he goes to Arkham Asylum, and we get that scene.
An all-time performance from Paul Dano.
From both, dude.
That's true.
Like, both of them are so good in this scene.
Yeah.
Like, Paul Dano, like, the performance he does where he's just repeating the words Bruce Wayne and the fear in Batman's face when he's like, he even looks at the cameras and everything else. He's like, "Stop saying my name,
Stop
dude.
saying my name, dude. Just
Please.
give me a second, please."
Please.
Yeah.
No.
Don't say
no.
so loud.
Don't say my name. Don't tell everybody who I am.
Right.
And the line where he's like, they don't know, but I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Your mask is beautiful. He compliments his mask.
Yeah.
It's like, he's just like my mask. I know the real you is the mask.
Yeah.
It allows you to do so much more than the other you would be able to. I know that
That's
who
so
you
good.
are doesn't matter.
Right.
Because this is you. I'm looking at you, and I'm sad that you don't get to look at me in my true form as well. Like,
Yeah,
that makes me a little sad.
It's so good.
It's such a good performance, and
Yeah.
like the fact that he literally comes out and says, like, you showed me the way. You as the Batman showed me the way. You showed me that all it takes is fear and a little focused violence, and you can make a difference.
Yeah.
And it's like, the argument about the Bat elevating things is kind of right here. The proof is in the pudding. He's literally saying that that's what happened.
Yeah. Two similar approaches that are only a hair's width away from each other.
And the fact that the Batman didn't figure it out. He missed the clues in the apartment.
Right.
To the real thing.
Yeah.
And the Riddler loses his mind.
Because he's upset that Batman didn't figure it out, and he's upset that Batman doesn't want to work with him. Because he thought Batman would be like, look at this, the renewal, yeah, we're both against it. Let's work together. Best friends forever. Let's go. Yeah, I love him getting so upset about that, and I love Riddler ending out with his performance of Ave Maria. Like, just
which has been his theme throughout the entire movie, by the way.
And just like the most disconcerting performance of it. It's so good.
Yeah, because that's the music. Anytime the Riddler's involved in something, that's the music that's playing in the score.
And I like you were talking about the Watchmen earlier, and we very much get a similar scene here where he's just like, oh, look at all this stuff on his floor. Oh, there's like 7 flashing lights. Oh, that's weird.
Oh, it's even better because he doesn't know. Like, he goes back to the crime scene.
Yeah, where that other one cop is.
Missed something, and the chain of evidence cop is like, dude, come on.
Don't rip up the carpet. What are you doing, man?
And like, he's the cop who tells him what the tool is.
Right.
He's like, yeah, it's a carpet fitter. Like, it helps you fit carpets.
Ding.
And that's when Batman like puts it together, rips that carpet up, and it's like, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Because, by the way, Gotham has a seawall.
And I like that Batman doesn't stop it from happening. He's just too late. Like, the seawall gets blown up, and Gotham gets flooded in a way that, like, isn't a flashback or isn't a what if. It's just like, no, man.
This is real.
You didn't solve the puzzle. And the thing happened.
We get that final video as well.
Just so unsettling. The whole time.
Way too real. Like, let's just...
That was my thought, too, where everyone's like, I'm going to bring my duct tape, and I've got the guns ready, and he's, like, doing a call to action for the Riddler fans, and I'm like, oh, this is, like,
it's way too close.
Uncomfortably on the nose.
When was January 6th again? Was that this year or last year?
It was a couple of years ago. But, you know...
2021, the year before this came out.
Yeah, a very similar sort of thing. So,
maybe deplatform the right-wing hate speech.
That's
I'm just saying.
Deplatform the Riddler. The end of this movie...
I do like the fact that the Riddler admits that he's like the pigs will have him by then, but the truth is still going to be revealed.
Yep.
Yeah, he knows. They're all going to flee to the stadium because it's the highest point in this below sea level city, by the
Right.
way.
It's like the only defensible above sea level area, so where
Mm-hmm.
else are you gonna go? I like a lot of it. A lot of this is largely like action set pieces.
It's terrifying though when you look up and there's all of those people on
Oh,
the
what a
light
hell of a
rig.
shot, man!
That's
And
rough, dude.
and the number of people that are actively firing upon Batman, like this isn't a situation where he has it under control. He almost never has it under control throughout this entire scene, and I like that approach to Bruce of just being like he's just in over his head.
No pun intended. He's winging it at that time.
That's right.
Like
That's right.
he is 100% like winging it, going with the flow, trying to do as much as he can with as little as he can. Gordon gets the saving the mayor credit,
Yes.
which she does get shot.
Yep.
But he gets her out of the. How bad is your homie group though?
Right.
If they have a sniper rifle shot at the mayor and they wing her, like I'm sorry,
Right.
but that's just a bad homie group.
That's right.
That's real rough.
Yeah.
Question for
Yeah.
you. They have the big fight scene, so on and so forth. Catwoman shows up eventually too.
Batman gets messed up.
Batman gets shot in the chest with a shotgun and is basically about to die.
Yeah. Out for the count for sure.
Then he injects himself with something green.
Uh-huh. It sure is green.
It sure feels like that might be Venom based on his reaction to it.
Yeah, there's like my
He
initial,
goes into a rage.
my initial thing was like, oh, that's probably how they would just show that it's like some sort of
Adrenaline.
adrenaline thing, and I was like, no, wait.
Wait, no, it's Batman.
It's
green.
specifically green, and he has like a port for it on his suit. That's probably leading to something, if I was going to guess.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the fact that he loses control and almost kills a dude
Right.
after he takes
Even
it.
Gordon is like, bro, hold
Dude,
on.
Dude,
Sheesh.
dude.
Man. I do like that we get the Batarang moment here when Bruce is trying to do the
pulls her
most
off his
heroic
chest.
thing of like stopping the flow of electricity. I really love that he just pulls it off of his chest. That's incredibly cool. Why hasn't any of the other movies done that? That's so cool.
Yep.
Ah, man.
I will say I wrote a stupid line here. The Batman must die so the Batman can live.
Yeah.
But I also did put in the Batman Paul Atreides must die so the Batman
That's right.
Kwisatz Haderach can live.
That's right.
Because it's literally a baptism scene.
Right.
He cuts the electricity so that the stuff doesn't kill the people in the water below him. He falls into the water, and then he rises out like a vengeful spirit. Except he pulls his flare out, he goes and tries to help the people, and everybody is still scared of him.
Right.
Everybody is still scared of him. The mayor is scared of him, all the aides are scared of him. Then a hand comes around the corner, and the first person he leads out is the kid who he saw at the beginning and then saved at the church.
And again, this scene is impeccably lit, where like the cop car comes through at some point and like falls in with the water, and the red and blue lights are flashing, and that's the only light that's lighting up Batman for a while until that stuff dies.
Until he pops the flare.
He pulls the flare, and like I love so much about the ending of this movie where Batman is recognizing that he needs to foster hope in Gotham as opposed to being the one that's ushering in fear, because so many Batman things end with him sort of retreating back into the Batcave or darkness, or he disappears for a while, and it's a lot of like, I need to be vengeance in the night, nobody can see me. This Batman is helping people getting life flighted out of Gotham in
and
the
he's
daylight.
Caked in mud.
Right.
Like he is covered in mud, he's filthy, he's just like everybody else who's there.
Yeah.
And they even call it out on the news. They're like, while we're waiting for the army, there's the vigilante known as the Batman helping people out on top of the stadium.
It's such a cool approach to Batman that we just never see, because that's the Superman we get to see, of like, it's me, I'm here, I'm helping people into the helicopter.
The Boy Scout.
Yeah, and Batman's like, all right, anyways, hiss back to the cave. Like, we don't get that here, and I think that's great.
The funny thing about Batman, though, is Batman is hope for the people who do good, and he's fear for the criminals. Whereas I think what this movie has shown, even at the start, he helps the dude who's getting attacked by the gang members, and the dude is afraid of him.
Yeah.
Everybody is afraid of him. He needs to refine his image, get a PR company in there, and
that's right.
Make up. I feel like that's what this movie is him making a point of, I'm not here for everybody. I'm here for the people who deserve it.
Right, and he's here for Gotham, the Gotham that should be instead of the renewal Gotham.
The Gotham that he cannot leave.
Right.
As Catwoman boogies on down to Bloodhaven.
I also like that Catwoman is just like, hey man, I think Gotham sucks. I don't think you can fix this place. I'm leaving. It's like, dang, okay, sure, peace.
Yep. So she boogies on out to Bloodhaven.
Yeah.
Give it about 20 years and Nightwing is going to be covering Bloodhaven, because that's where he defends.
That's right. Bloodhaven is such a comic book name for a city too.
Oh, it's even better. Do you know how it's spelled, dude?
No. Is it B-L-U-D?
100% B-L-U-D.
The glittering shores of Bloodhaven.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no one goes to Bloodhaven anymore.
And it's a city in New Jersey, apparently.
Of course it is. Sounds about right. Am I right? So that's largely the end of the movie.
Minus the montage of becoming Hope.
Right.
But yes.
We're at like 5-star runtime now anyways, but
yes.
I really, really loved this movie, and I think
this is incredible.
Like we talked about at the beginning, it's one of the few movies that is helped by its extended runtime. Like, it's a long movie, and it feels pretty long throughout the majority of it. Not in a bad way, but just...
No, because some of that's just action and brooding shots, which I know you might make fun of brooding shots, but it's kind of needed in this kind of movie.
Well, and, like, I like that there's a lot of scenes of him detecting, you know, and, like, him looking around an area, and him just sitting there thinking about a riddle for a little bit. Like, it gives the entire movie room to breathe, and I think that helps it so much. Because when you have these action scenes, it's not back-to-back action scenes, but when you have the Batmobile chase, when you have the coolest gunfight in a pitch-black hallway ever, those scenes are even better because the half an hour before it was all detective work and trying to solve the puzzle and, you know, smacking your teeth on the side of a bridge. You know, it's a bunch of other stuff rather than the cool bang-bang action stuff. I think my only kind of like half-hearted genuine complaint about this movie is I wish Gordon had a little bit better stuff in the script. Like I said at the beginning, it's a lot of like, my God, he's sick. It's like, he peeled off their flesh. Ugh, disgusting. You know, it's like, it's that sort of thing, which I'm hoping that in future ones that he gets a little bit more stuff to play with, because I think he's a great actor and I think he plays a really good Gordon. But like, that's my only real complaint about this movie, and I'm not even like that upset about that.
Yes. Well, you know they have announced a sequel for this.
Yeah, isn't it coming out in like 2026?
Yes, 2026.
God. Okay. My God. Release dates.
If they need to take the time to make it, then take the time to make it.
You're going to put out another 3-hour banger, you're going to take a couple of years. That's fine. I'm not going to be too mad about that. Yeah.
And we have the Penguin TV show to keep us occupied in the meantime.
Yeah, that's true. I'll have to go check out that trailer now that we've talked about this movie.
Yep.
What are your final thoughts here before we get into the ratings on another watch?
We missed it.
We missed what?
We can't talk about the ending credits scene.
Which ending credits scene?
The one right before the ending credits.
Oh. Yeah, so
because it had to happen.
yeah,
It had to happen.
I forgot about this because yeah. So essentially, Riddler in Arkham
Hold on,
makes friends.
hold on.
Yeah,
The less of them you have, the more one is worth.
that's true. Yes, that's true. But I wanted to hate this scene. Like, I really did.
It's actually really well done.
Because I think every time you bring the Joker in, the Joker has to be such a hard character to write for.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm not going to get into it. It's a very delicate balance to write the Joker, and I think it has to be an impossible task to write the Joker in general.
Yes, go check out the first Suicide Squad movie we covered, the Batman versus Superman movie that we covered, the Justice League extended cut that we covered.
Yeah. I really like the approach that they have in this scene, where you don't really see him.
You mean performed by... Hold on. Barry Keogh, who was also in The Eternals. If you have not seen
Barry
that,
Keogh.
he is...
Okay.
Have you seen The Eternals?
No.
He is the best performance in the Eternals, as far as I'm concerned. Who plays unseen Arkham prisoner. That is his credited role.
I like this scene because it's just long enough to have the Joker. You can see the train crash happening. Of just like, hey man, you're down on your luck? I'll be your friend. Who else is going to be your friend in this horrible, messed up world except old J guy here? You want to...
Gotham loves a comeback story.
That's a really good line. He's got a couple of really good lines in like 2 or 3 minutes on screen. But like, you see the seeds being planted even in this of just like, yeah man, who's got your back? This guy, who certainly isn't into crime. Let's do some crime.
Who certainly is not laughing maniacally alongside the Riddler, who also is laughing maniacally.
Right.
He's got a good Joker laugh, dude.
He does. He does. I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. Yeah. What are your final thoughts here on a rewatch?
Honestly, so... I was thinking about this,
and
I love all of the different portrayals of the Batman for many different reasons. Arnold Schwarzenegger making jokes about the Ice Age will forever live in my head rent-free because it's just so dumb and stupid and amazing in the best ways. As a Batman movie, this might be it, dude. This might be the best Batman movie. It might be the best Batman. Ignoring the Bruce Wayne side, because Bruce Wayne is clearly being ignored in this.
Right. It's the best world's greatest detective Batman movie.
It might be the best Batman and the best Batman movie.
Yep. And it's such a cool take on Bruce Wayne. Like,
who is irrelevant.
Right, and like, he doesn't need to be the millionaire playboy. He can just be a millionaire and be weird about it. That's okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah. This movie's really outstanding. I'm start a timer now for when the second one is coming out. Let's go watch it.
Please, for the second one, do Bane. Don't do Joker. Do Bane.
Right. Do a swerve. You can have Joker kind of like doing his business in the back, but like,
because in my opinion, you referenced Venom in this movie.
It certainly seems like it.
In my opinion,
right,
Bane should be the next one because the Nolan Batman movies are great. They genuinely are great movies. I don't think you're ever going to be able to top Heath Ledger's Joker.
I mean, that's always the one you're chasing.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the thing that you're going to have to struggle with. So, like...
And the DCEU tried to take a different approach on it to try and...
That was a catastrophic failure.
Yeah, like, you just took the wrong approach, man.
You took the wrong actor, dude.
Well, and also, like, I feel a little bit more, let's use the Batman term here, feel a little bit more hope on the approach that they might be taking to Joker here, because I liked their approach on the Riddler. It's a very different but still interesting approach. Too real in the end, that's for sure. But like, it's a cool, different approach to Riddler that still felt kind of true to the character, but interesting in kind of a toned down way.
Hyper intelligent, like super intelligent.
Really cool. So you would hope that whenever they get around to Joker, if they do, that there might be a more interesting, more grounded approach to the Joker.
I mean, and if you've got him in contract and Barry Keogh is the one you choose to play the Joker, I will watch it, because everything I've seen that guy,
he's great.
So when we talked about Dune, we talked a lot about the next generation of up and coming stars to be. And I put him right up there with Timothée Chalamet, with Zendaya, with Tom Holland.
He's great.
I think he's genuinely up there in that discussion.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about our ratings here real quick. Let's talk about IMDb has this at a 7.8 out of 10 out of 796,000 ratings. So that's definitely one of the ones of like, it's too long, 1 star out of 10. It's also funny, it dropped 20 popularity points at the time of recording. It's at 129 on the entire site. So like, still doing pretty okay here.
But 7, dude, 7.
I mean, let's talk about the other ratings. You'll probably feel better about that. Rotten Tomatoes, 85% on the Tomato Meter with 523 reviews, which might be our new top number of reviews here, because we usually don't see too many of those there. And 87% on the audience score, which is maybe a bit more in line with what I thought. And Letterboxd has this at a flat 4.0 out of 5, which is too low.
Yeah. I mean, is this Pattinson hate getting thrown this way?
I'm sure. To me, I always think of a lot of these reviews on the sites, especially somewhere like IMDb or Letterboxd. A lot of them are troll reviews, where it's like, "LOL, I'm asleep 30 minutes in, 1 star out of 5," or "I hate the Wizard movies."
3 out of 10. The pacing was awful for a 3-hour film. The action only happens in the last 40 minutes. Maybe pay attention to the plot.
Yeah, like, that's the sort of thing.
Character development was poor. We hardly see Bruce, and Batman seems bulletproof. That's the point. The actors selected for the film were off by a long shot. That's Pattinson hate.
Yeah.
And possibly by extension, Zoe Kravitz hate as a woman of color.
So you got to throw out a lot of those reviews because they're not in good faith. So I think a lot of those are just like drive-by 1-star ratings of just like, this sucks, 1 star. So I don't know. This movie was great. Screw the haters.
A high 9s to a 10 for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm probably not at the 10, but I'm probably as close as you can get to it for this movie. It's
no fun, says this review.
No
I've never
fun
been
allowed.
so bored watching a superhero movie. And I bet you this is the exact same type of person who would be like, bring back to the Snyderverse, it should be darker.
Yep, 100%. Man. Well, they don't matter. Our ratings matter. We loved it.
Yeah.
So, that's a first of 3 movies for the season. We're going to go a little bit further back in time for our second one. We hope you will join us then. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.